Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at what's called the Hegelian Problem-Reaction-Solution. And this is extremely important for all of us to understand so we can make some sense out of all the bullshit that's been bombarded in our brains. It's so hard to make sense out of so many things because we have too many references that support bullshit. We've been bombarded in our brains with bullshit. And if you understand this Hegelian problem-reaction-solution, you can understand how we're being duped, how we're being tricked, how we're being fooled, how we're being bamboozled into believing bullshit so we can be controlled on levels most of us just don't understand yet. So let's take a quick look at this problem-reaction-solution to make sure we don't end up as useful idiots, as Lenin would say. People who helped him on his cause. Well, we can use this term to apply to all of us whenever we don't understand what's really going on and we support bullshit. A lot of us are supporting bullshit and we think we're in the right, but it's bullshit, and you got to understand this problem-reaction-solution to see through the bullshit. So, what is that all about? Well, the people who rule the world know that they got to convince us to do what they want us to do. So what they do is they create a problem. They create chaos. Remember, psychopaths swim in chaos. The rulers of the world are psychopaths. So they create chaos, they create a problem, and then they want us to react in the way we do best, fear. If we're scared, then we go begging to them, please give us a solution. If we believe the bullshit about the bird flu or the swine flu or the Ebola or SARS or any of that bullshit, then we're going to be saying, please give us the vaccine. Instead of saying, what the fuck is in this vaccine? Why are you poisoning us with vaccines? We're going, give us the vaccines. You see how easy you're tricked and fooled? Most of us are sheep. We have no idea how we're being led right into the slaughterhouse. My friends, last century, 262 million people were murdered by government during peacetime. Democide, Google that. The University of Hawaii pushed the pencil to it. 262 million people murdered during peacetime by the governments. And how are they going to do it this time around? Well, history repeats itself, and we're due for another pandemic. What do you think the bird flu is, and the swine flu, and the Ebola, and all the SARS, and all this other bullshit is? They're brainwashing you, putting more references in your brain to make you believe in bullshit viruses. It's all friggin' bullshit, man. And you can't understand that until you understand the problem-reaction-solution. You got to get in the brain of these psychopaths to figure out what they're doing to us so we don't get screwed. It's not complicated once you see what they're doing because they're very predictable. They've done it over and over and over again. Do some research and you're going to find out more about false flags. Every war we've ever been into in the last several hundred years, there's a false flag that gets us pumped up to do it. No one wants to fight wars, so they create bullshit to get us to fight amongst one another. Remember, divide and conquer is one of the main MOs of psychopaths. And how do they do that? It's simple. They get us to believe in bullshit, and then we become useful idiots. And we think, oh my God, the Ebola scare, the Ebola scare, and we believe the bullshit we read in the papers. The media is owned by the powers that be. Don't you understand? They own everything. They're brainwashing us on levels we don't understand when we're watching a sitcom TV show. It's changing our values in ways we don't even understand unless you look at the Fabian Society and you realize they've been doing this for, they have a planned project. They know they can't change us too quickly or we'll wake up. So they got to do it slowly. And the thing about all of this is they know that we're unpredictable and we can wake up any second. So they are always testing us to see what they can get away with. And they're getting away with more and more and more. Let's take a look at some of the things they've done and they've gotten away with and we haven't woken up to, most of us. Let's take a look at how they started growing our food on artificial fertilizers. Remember, psychopaths are con artists. Every one of them are con artists. They're magicians. They're masters of illusion. They're masters of misdirection. And what they have done is they started growing our food with chemicals, artificial fertilizers. And voila, it's magic. Looks like food. It ain't food. We've lost 83% of the biophotons. Organic food has 5 times the biophotons as conventional food. Is this by design? Of course it is. They know what they're doing. That's why they're irradiating our foods. That's why they're going to do that to all of our foods. So they grow our food on garbage, and now the plants are sick. They can't defend themselves, so they use more chemicals, pesticides, which are neurotoxins, to kill these, to paralyze and kill these insects. And they started using DDT. Well, polio, that's what polio is. It's from DDT. If you look at the statistics, only 1 out of 3,775 people contracted polio on an average. But the city of San Angelo thought it was the viruses and the bacteria, so they went out and got 2 DDT fogging machines, and they bathed their city in it, and they had 1 out of 24 people come down with polio. Polio is simply, we're being poisoned with DDT. And the point about this, if you do your research, you're going to find out that they did this on purpose. They figured out what it took to paralyze a monkey and how to interrupt that. Here we got the problem, we got the solution, we got the vaccine. Don't you see? Problem, reaction, solution. Give them the DDT. Oh, it's a virus. You stupid fools. When are you going to wake up and stop accepting this virus bullshit? We've been bombarded with this bullshit all the time, and we can't get out of it because we got too many references. They did it way back with polio. Don't you see? It's so obvious. And let's spray poison on the plants. These sheep are so stupid. We're going to poison them. And the same thing we're doing to these bugs, paralyzing them, we're going to do it to you, and we're going to blame it on a virus. But we got a vaccine. Give us money to do research. We already had it all along. We know how to interrupt the signal. And at the same time, what are we going to do? Stop doing the DDT. Look, we got the results. Man, I'm telling you, when you hear the word virus, think bullshit. This is important because they got over 400 vaccines in the pipeline right now because all the big money makers in the drug companies are about to expire. And now they're going to have a virus for everything, and we still keep believing it. You got to stop believing in this virus bullshit. Sure, there's dead genetic debris that can cause problems, but what we need to do is figure out, well, why do we have this dead genetic debris? Why are cells dying? Why can't we clean up the mess? You know, why do we have all these other problems? Why can't organized medicine find a solution to any of our problems? You can't find a sunset when you're going east. You can't find it. The rulers of the world are masters of misdirection. They're misdirected our so-called experts. And I have a theory that everyone who goes into infectious disease, I think they have to pass an IQ test and where you got to be below a certain level. Because these guys got to be the dumbest idiots in the world to believe in this bullshit. You're real good at remembering information, but you can't connect any dots together. You can't do any. You can't even think. You don't have the ability for critical thinking. And this is all by design. Also, I point this out in my video about education. The way the system's designed, it rewards those who have a good memory, not people who are smart and know how to solve problems, but who have good memories. And then they know those type of people will go into positions that require a lot of training, like lawyers and doctors, and they don't question authority. This is by design. Again, we're manipulated on levels most of us don't understand. Problem, reaction, solution, DDT. Give us the vaccines. Here they are. Hallelujah. Now I'm branded for life. You motherfuckers. God, I get pissed off because I know how you fuckers work and think. And you guys never think about this. People who rule the world have so much money. It isn't about money. It's about making sure we don't have the money. They got so much money we can't even wrap our brains around it. We're like cattle and sheep to them. When they give us vaccines, we're scarred for life. That's being branded. Wake up, we're being branded. We're sheep. The people in the world are laughing at us, controlling and manipulating us. They got so much money we can't wrap our brains around how much they got. Take $1 million and $1 trillion. How can we relate to those two? We can't. 1 million seconds, a little over 11.5 days. 1 trillion seconds, almost 32,000 years. If you got 500 trillion of these guys, you got 16 million years. That's what the rulers of the world have. They got like 16 trillion years, and when we look at how many people have 1 million, 11.5 days, there may be like 15 million of those, about 1,800 billionaires. So look at the ratio. There's about 200 families that have all the wealth. They have so much wealth we can't even wrap our brain around it. To them, it's like a little monopoly game. Again, I know how to be their accountants. I know how to look at the balance sheet. I know how to look at the world balance sheet. I know how their little brains are thinking and controlling us and branding us, scarring us for life, poisoning us, laughing the whole time. And all their accumulated wealth is their version of slavery to us because we're enslaved. Don't you see? This is how they think. I know it's how they think. I put my brain in theirs, and it isn't hard to figure out how they think. They're predictable. They're sick. They have no empathy. All they care about is enslaving us, keeping us where we are. And that's what we are. We're slaves to them. So when you have $500 trillion and the guy next to you only has $200 trillion, it's like I've had, 2.5 times as many slaves as you have. Think of it this way. Think of the world as a construction company. We've got a lot of raw materials and a lot of labor. Every year we build things. We accumulate wealth, retained earnings, accumulated wealth. And what we don't understand is that over the millennium, that so much wealth has been accumulated, we can't comprehend how much they have. And so it isn't about making the money. It's not, when people think it's about the money, it's all about control. They want to make sure we don't have the money. It's a form of feudalism, neo-feudalism. Make sure the masses, the majority of us, don't have enough money so that we can do anything. This goes back to democide. The people who the rulers of the world fear the most are upper middle class children, are children of middle class, of that middle class, who have more time and luxury not to have to work all day, and they can actually do research and learn things like this. That's why they're cold every year or every century. 262 million people were cold, murdered by government to make sure to keep the masses where they are. That's what they did in Russia. All the greatest people in Russia were murdered. In Cambodia, if you wore glasses, you were a threat to the powers that be. This is going to happen again, and it's going to happen because we believe in the vaccine myth and the contagion myth, and we're going to beg for the vaccine, and the poison is going to be in the vaccine. Look what Jane Burgermaster did when she came out and said, look, why are you putting poisons in there? They tried to do it already once, and they caught them. Don't you remember that a few years back? My God, people, we got to wake up and realize how the problem-reaction-solution works on many levels. Think about it this way. We got to make sure they don't have any money. Well, let me see, we already got them with the food, the housing, the taxes. Oh yeah, the power to tax is the power to control. Think about that one, or the power to destroy. And then say, what else can we get on them? Well, how about the water? Yeah, we can get them on the water. How about the air? Oh, we can't tax them on the air. But how about the air they breathe out? Let's tax them on their carbon. Those fools will buy it. Carbon taxes. Let's make up man-made global warming. Man, I'm telling you. Problem. Global crisis. Solution. Global carbon taxes. The power to tax is the power to destroy, to control, to manipulate, to keep us poor, to keep us controlled. We got to wake up. We're the giants on this planet. We got to destroy this small group of people and put them in their place. When I say destroy, I just mean get them out of existence. I don't mean torture them and lock them and punish them like they're doing to us. That's not a solution. I don't believe that's the solution to anything. We just got to get reconnected. There's a simple solution to all these things I'm saying. And we got to wake up and realize we live on an abundant planet. These people want us to believe in scarcity. They create these crises, problem, reaction, solution. You think the Great Depression happened by accident? Why was it Germany and Japan were so prosperous? They proved to the world, both Germany and Japan, that we live on an abundant planet when you don't let these bastards siphon all the profits and you redistribute amongst the people. That's what happened to Germany and Japan. And look at your stupid belief system, bombarded with bullshit. And you think Germany and Japan's the bad guy. You believe that Hitler was bad and the Holocaust is true. Lie, 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 lie. It's all lies. You can't trust any part of your belief system. Do some research with an open mind, and it's going to blow your mind. It only takes 5 minutes of decent research to look into something like the Holocaust to realize it's all fabricated. It's all a lie. Look into it with an open mind. That's all I ask. Again, we can't trust our belief system. The perfect example is Hitler. He's the epitome of evil. He was one of the greatest men of the last century. What? How? Oh my God, I lose all my respect for John Rose now. No, my file's over 1,100 pages on Hitler. Both good and bad. When you look at both sides, it's obvious as hell. It's obvious as hell. History is written by the victors. And when you look at what Hitler did, he threatened the powers that be because he broke away from the people printing their money. He printed his own money just like Japan did. That's why the world attacked Germany. It wasn't the other way around. I'm telling you, we live on an abundant planet. Germany and Japan proved it to the world. The powers that be have demonized those people, and you are so easily manipulated. I'm proving my point right now. You guys believe that Hitler was evil. You believe the Holocaust is true. And if you do, you better check your belief system for your own good. Because you don't want to be a useful idiot. You have to understand it's as simple as problem, reaction, solution. It's as simple as understanding that the history is written by the victors. It's as simple to understand that we're too easily controlled and manipulated, and we have been since birth, on ways we can't even comprehend. So what's the solution? Is there a solution? You bet there's a solution. It's upstream and it's downstream. We got to get reconnected. We got to stop getting distracted. We got to stop believing in the bird flu and the swine flu and all these other bullshit flus, because we're getting ready to hit the big one pretty soon. If we don't wake up like right now, it's going to happen in a year or two. Mark my word, damn it. If we don't wake up, it will happen. But we're being tested all the time. They won't do it as long as we're waking up, and they know they can't get away with it. But that's why we're being bombarded all the time. So yes, we got to go upstream, but yeah, there's a lot of downstream work we got to do. With detoxification comes de-indoctrination. You got to pull that bullshit out of your brain. The only way I can think of doing it is be open-minded and do some research on this. And there are a lot of rabbit holes we don't need to go down. You don't need to know whether or not Hitler was really a good guy or the Holocaust really happened. That doesn't really, you don't have to go to that much trouble, except to realize that you can't trust your belief system. And I know everyone believes those two things happened, and I'm telling you right now, think about that. I'm saying they don't. I've done a lot of research in this area, a lot of it. Between these two files, over 2,000 pages of research. I've looked on both sides. And the evidence is overwhelmingly one-sided. It's a lie. And this is how the world works. They're magicians. We're being tricked. We're being fooled. And don't continue to be a fool again. Wake up. Accept the fact that, yeah, you got me once, but you ain't going to get me again. And I'll play my role. I'll be the best that I can be. I'll help other people realize that we got to get this message out. That there's a simple solution for the things that we're suffering from, because the people who rule the world know that we got to stay sick. The sickest of us. Oh, what was that word I used yesterday? Darn it. I thought of it a way I hadn't said it before. I usually say it just takes advantage of the fact that the rest of us are sick. Basically the same thing. But that's what's happening right now. Medicine is the ultimate tool of control. The people who rule the world have to keep us sick. That's why doctors don't know anything, especially the infectious disease experts. That's why we still believe in viruses. And if you really want to understand viruses, look who the father of modern virology is. That's Thomas Rivers. And look who he worked for, Rockefeller. If you don't understand the Rockefeller medical connection, you're missing a big piece of the puzzle. Read The Racketeering of Medicine by James P. Carter, or Murder by Injection by Yusuf Mullins, or The Medical Mafia. There's so many good books out there that expose what's going on and how the 1910 Flexner Report, Rockefeller hired this guy to go around to manipulate the medical industry by knowing who was out there so he could give money to one side. So the Rockefeller, oil, drugs, poisons, problem-reaction-solution, poison the air, poison the water, poison the food, goes back to the art of war, Sun Tzu. How do you defeat your enemy? You don't let them satisfy their needs. You poison their food and their supplies. And if you have to, you just take the food away from them. Shut the power off in a big city. What's going to happen in a big city when the power goes off? How many riots are going to break out? How many people are going to die within a couple months if they don't get food? It's so easy to kill us again right now, and this is what we got to wake up to. We got to do a lot of downstream work right now to let these people know you're not going to pull this shit on us. We're going to pull out of this hole before you know it, and we're not going to make this century worse than the century prior to this. But that's where we're headed. Don't you understand? 262 million last century murdered by government. This century is going to be more, and history repeats itself. So we're going to have another pandemic. We're going to have more wars unless we wake up and realize that a lot of these problems where we have limited control will go away when we do what we need to do for those problems where we have 100% control. We'll always have accidents and acts of nature. We can't do anything about that. But when it comes to heart disease and cancer and diabetes and war, crime, and violence, these are 100% within our control, and we have limited control. And when we do what it takes and get reconnected, most of those problems are going to go away. And I'm sure we'll still have a residual effect to remind us that we should never, ever cook our food again. So if you haven't watched my seminar, I highly recommend watching that. If you're not motivated to do it, or if you, after you watch it and you're thinking about it, listen to the Dr. Roba interview on day 21 and watch the Deborah Duncan show, and you can see the types of transformations people go through when they do this. And this is so exciting. I've said before, this is an exciting time to live because we're on the verge of having history repeat itself, or we're on the verge of waking up from this nightmare and going back to the golden ages we had before when we didn't have problems that were within our control. Most of our problems are within our control. Heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, 100% within our control. Violence, crime, war, they're within our control to an extent. If we get reconnected, it will change our behavior, it will change our mentality. We'll still have some of those problems, I'm sure, but not at the level we have now, and I can't imagine ever seeing any more war once we wake up to this. I'm sure we're going to still have some bad behavior because we can't erase our memory, and that's going to be part of our psyche, I think, for a while. So again, this is an exciting time to live. We are on the verge of going into another century that was as bad as last, except this time it's going to be worse. Or we have a chance to actually wake up, get out of this hole. It all begins by doing the first of my three-step process, and you know when you do it, you're in for a treat.